Hey there Fnaf fans, DK17 here and welcome to 2025. Today we're gonna review the new Five Nights at Freddy's 2 Shadow Plushies by Hex. Now I actually thought after the Wizards they would move on to sister location since we already have the main cast of Fnaf 2. But no, we've still got one more wave from the game. Also, I really don't mind at all. I really do find these rare Easter egg characters very fascinating compared to others. Now without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first plush we're gonna take a look at today is the Forgotten Shadow Freddy. Once again, I don't have too much to say since he's mostly a recolor of Withered Golden Freddy. However, there are some slight differences about him. The most obvious one is that he has an open mouth, which in general I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I'm glad Doggo tried to make him more distinct from Golden Freddy, but I just prefer when the mouths are embroidered. However, with Shadow Freddy, I don't think it looks too bad, cause the teeth are embroidered, which helps a lot. The mouth is also a bit more closed compared to other plushies. Another tiny difference is that the material is just a tiny bit fluffier than on Golden Freddy. I think I prefer that honestly. As for the color, while I do think he's too light of a purple, I kinda like it at the same time. His top hat also looks a bit better than any other Freddy's. It has sharper edges at the top like a real top hat has. However, Shadow Freddy shouldn't have a purple stripe in his hat. I know it's a stylized choice, but still. Come to think of it, all the Withered Freddys have a stripe in their head, but it's barely noticeable in the others. Another weird thing that I'm confused about is that Shadow Freddy has no neck. Huh? I thought this was a permanent feature for future plushies, but no. I guess the shadows are an exception. Actually, when I look closer, I noticed that Shadow Freddy's head is a bit longer than Golden Freddy's. And I might think it looks a bit better, I'm not sure. Despite not being accurate to the game, I do really like this design for the microphone. It's nice to get different variants for a change. Overall, it's a fine plush, but he's not one of my favorites. I think I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, we have the one that crashes your game. RWQFSFASXC, also known as Shadow Bonnie and named Shadow RXQ by Hex. Come to think of it, we've never had an official plush of Shadow Bonnie. We've had a Funko Pop, Mr. Minis, a McFarlane figure, but no plush. Again, I don't have too much to say because it's mostly a recolor of Toy Bonnie. However, what surprised me is that this plush is super squishy compared to every other plush. That's so weird. I don't know if I like it or not, but he doesn't fit in that well with the others. Still, I can't help but love him. Because Toy Bonnie is my favorite, I obviously really like Shadow Bonnie as well, so this is probably the reason why. But that doesn't protect this plush from criticism. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of open mouths, but here it looks a bit worse. His upper teeth are popping out and it isn't even accurate. Shadow Bonnie only has 4 teeth. Another problem I have is that his head is too fat compared to Toy Bonnie. Toy Bonnie's head has always been a bit small, which suits the character, so this is a bit out of place here. There is, however, one thing better about Shadow Bonnie than Toy Bonnie. His ears are stuffed, smaller, and a bit closer together. Toy Bonnie's ears were just flat and a little too far apart in my opinion, so this looks more accurate here. Another thing which McFarlane didn't even get right is the inclusion of his cheeks and bow tie. Yes, Shadow Bonnie does have that in the game. It's just hard to notice, but if you take his Fnaf AR model, you can clearly see that he has that. He is missing his eyelashes though, which really is just a nitpick. Now, this plush doesn't come with any accessories, which is fair enough. I mean, what would you even give him? A shadow guitar? However, he can still hold accessories with both hands, unlike Toy Bonnie. Overall, this plush is a bit more on the mediocre side, but at the same time, I really love him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Now, both plushes have one little gimmick. They both glow in the dark. Their eyes, their teeth, their outlines of their limbs, and Shadow Freddy's buttons and paw beans. I mean, it is kinda unnecessary, but it is a nice little bonus. And it makes these plushes just a little more special. So my final thoughts on these are... Hey, wait a minute, we're not done yet! We've still got one more plush left to review. Sorry about that. Alright, last but not least, we have our very first plush from Fnaf 4, Nightmare On. That's a surprise, cause Doggo did say they'll skip Fnaf 4 for now, so that's a nice little preview to the game. And oh my god, this plush is amazing! This plush is extremely accurate to the game. This plush might be the best Hex plush ever in my opinion, even better than the puppet. It's definitely the best piece of Nightmare On merch ever, even better than the action figure. Actually, we haven't even had an official Nightmare Yawn plushie either, so that's cool. Again, just look at him. He's super creepy. This plush might even give some people nightmares. He's not cute or cuddly at all. Just like the puppet, the arms and legs are bendable, but also his fingers. Ooh, this plush sure gives me chills down my spine. But the best part about Nightmare Yawn is that he has LED glowing eyes. Wow, this really makes him even creepier. You can really do a lot of creepy shots with him. To turn his eyes on, press the button on his left hand. And the batteries are replaceable inside his head, so you won't lose this gimmick. Again, this plush doesn't come with accessories, but he can still hold stuff with his right arm. Overall, this plush is perfect. He gets a 10 out of 10. Now before we close, let's take a look at the bags and collector cards. Once again, the shadows come with their own unique bags, as well as Nightmare Yawn. However, his bag's a bit smaller than the others. It also looks like it's Halloween themed. And here's a quick look at the collector cards. Now strangely, the shadow cards are inside a much bigger plastic container than the rest. I'm really not a big fan of that. Please don't do that again, Hex. So my final thoughts on these plushies are, while I do think the shadow plushies are pretty okay, the Nightmare Yawn blows them out of the water. If I had to rank them, I would say that Shadow Bonnie is the worst one, then Shadow Freddy, and then Nightmare Yawn is the best one. And now we've added 2 more characters to our FNAF 2 collection. Now the only characters missing really are JJ and Endo02. And I really doubt this will ever be made. And what's crazy to think is that McFarlane Toys is the only other company who've made all these characters. That really says a lot about Funko. But with that, it's time to move on from FNAF 2 to Security Breach. Seriously, I can't wait for them. I can already tell these are gonna be amazing. So that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you want to see more, then feel free to check out my channel. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video, so peace out everyone!